Well, we're here at AKWESASNE at the AKWESASNE Freedom School, and lucky enough to come across the director, which I threatened her with physical violence if I had to get her to tell me the history, but she volunteered anyway. This is Falling Leaves, the director of the school, and I would love to have you tell me the history of this school.
Well, don't quote me on anything because I was just a kid and I've heard this story several times from my mom and different people in the community. But from what I understand, there was a camp that was here on Rocket Point down near Loran Thompson's property because at one point New York State wanted to come in and take land here on Rocket, more land. And a group of people, from what I know, they said, no, you're not coming in, you're not taking any more land. So these people formed a camp on Rocket Point, and I'm not sure exactly how everything happened. Like I was 2 years old. I don't remember. I've heard different things. But anyway, so while they were in this camp, I think it went on for 2 years. They were holding off. They were giving up land or something. Anyway, they were fighting to keep them out of AKWESASNE. So while in that time, I guess they had the kids that were there, the families that were there, there were buses coming in to pick up the kids to take them to school. And these people that were there were like, what are we doing? We're fighting the state, but we're sending our kids to be educated by the state. Like, why are we doing this? So after some time, they started thinking like, we can educate our own kids. Let's educate them in our history. Let's educate them in our language and our culture. And so they started the school at this camp, and it was just, like whatever kids were there, like coming to a class. They talked about, there was Jake Swamp, who's passed away. There was Tommy Porter that I know, Loran Thompson. There was probably a lot more people that I can't think of at the moment, but they had started a school, and I'm not sure exactly how they did what, but it was just
roughly what year?
79, like
okay.
Keeping the kids busy and teaching them about things. And I know there was an older class because my mom, Cherie Bonaparte, is my mom, and she said she taught the older kids. She didn't speak the language, but she taught the older kids, and she had grown up here in AKWESASNE when she was young, and then her family moved to Syracuse, so most of her life she grew up in Syracuse. And she taught them what she knew about history and different things. And so as they started, so then somehow this property that we have here was donated by somebody. Parents came here. This group of people came and they cleared out this whole area. They built a building here. It's been here ever since. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what year. Maybe in 81 they moved into this building, or this was a building. And then I started school here in 82, maybe.
Oh, you started?
Yeah, I went to school here.
Ah.
And I remember there was always issues with the building. Like we used to not have walls. It was kind of more open. There was a wood stove here. We lived just down the road, so we used to ride our bike here or walk here in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like a wood stove in here. It was more open. Like there wasn't classrooms. It was just open. Well, at the time, it was just a building with a kitchen and bathrooms and pretty much open. And we had these like ugly orange room divider thingies to separate rooms or levels or grades or kids or groups. Mm-hmm. But we did a lot of stuff with the older kids. Like the older students would help us learn things, and it wasn't immersion until later on.
Now, to start out, how many students were we talking about originally? Just a handful or a few, or whoever
20.
showed up? Okay. And when you moved to this location, what do you think the numbers were?
Well, that's after the standoff had ended, like the camp.
Mm-hmm.
New York State wasn't coming. I'm not really sure how that all ended. I know that I'm pretty sure they didn't take any more land. So when that happened and people came here, I don't know. I was 4 or
this
5
isn't
years
the
old.
golf course story, right? Where they're going to take the land for the golf course?
No, but GM is a company that is located right behind. GM had property, and I'm not sure if GM wanted to take the property or New York State. I don't know. That part I wouldn't know. You
Right.
have to ask somebody a little
Well,
older
I'm
than
trying
me.
to seek out the stories of the wanting to take land for a golf course or a recreational park or something.
No, it wasn't that.
At one time, and also the moving of the reservation in connection with the Seaway. But finding the elders that still, tell stories is almost impossible anymore, because I goofed up and waited too long to start this. All the people, like my godfather was Jake Cook, the flying saint, as far as ironworkers go, and all those people, I've talked to them and interviewed and listened to stories for years, and I just can't kick myself hard enough for not recording any of it.
Oh, yeah.
All those historians, they carried it with them to the grave, and this is part of what I'm doing now, because if we don't record it, who's going to ever hear the stories?
Yeah, I don't know that history real well.
But that's all right. I'm just saying that I didn't know which story it was connected to. So we've come to the point where you move to this location, and it's a stove and a small building.
Well, it's this size building. Like, this room we're in was a greenhouse. Oh. But not at the time. At the time, this part of the building wasn't on here. Mm-hmm. So it was just the rest of the school, and it was just classrooms and wood stove, and we learned stories, and we learned our language, and the first couple of years it was in English. I remember making like corn husk dolls and working in the garden and making pouches and just different, like more hands-on things, mm-hmm. and reading and writing. I remember learning that. Then later on it went into immersion. And the teachers that were here, a lot of them didn't get paid for years in the beginning. The parents came here every weekend and cleaned. They ran fundraisers almost every weekend to help pay the bills or to buy things or to add on. And I know one of the teachers that was here in the beginning, and she said she remembers getting a check after working here for a couple of years and getting $25 one week, and she was like, "Oh, they're gonna pay me!" Like,
wow,
So it was really started.
Really cashed in at $25.
Really out of just people's sheer will to maintain what we had, or to teach, mm-hmm. to keep what we had, and then to help it to move forward, right? For more kids to learn. And a lot of those kids that were there when I was young, their kids have gone to school here. They've come back. At the moment, we have a lot of students, or a lot of our teachers that are students who, like me, who went to school here and finished, and then went to high school and then came back, and are teachers now. So most of our teachers are students from the last generation.
Okay. And how many students do you have today?
62.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
it varies every year.
I see some very young children out there. So you start at what age or what grade? 4. So 4 in
4 years
pre-K,
old, so pre-K,
maybe? Yep.
And we go up to 9, level 9 right now.
9th grade?
Level 9. Yeah, we don't call it grades, but level 9. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the rest of the world wouldn't understand so much levels, but then they go, that would make them freshmen. They
usually go to high school.
Here locally, like not Messina, it's going to be...
There's Messina, or there's Fort, there's Salmon, or there's Messina, or there's Cornwall.
Okay. Or you said Fort Covington?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
It's Salmon River.
Okay.
That's where most of our
they just choose to,
or
whichever one they want, yeah.
We have one student who came here, and he never wanted to leave, so he hasn't left. And he's right now he's a teacher, trainee.
Wow.
Because he came up all the way up until about level 11, so like grade 11. So he's almost 18, but he is a really good teacher. And he don't want anything to do with public school.
Well, I'm so jealous because as a child, I guess I would be fluently speaking Mohawk today, but the Alcoa plant, which is
just right there,
very close to here, and this I think is downwind of that smelting plant, laid off my father and a couple thousand people. Mm-hmm. We ended up going to Madrid and then Ogdensburg, which are two towns. Mm-hmm. Two towns anyway. We ended up in Ogdensburg, and the Indian language and culture was punished out of me.
Yeah.
So to speak any Indian, and I spoke, as a kid, I spoke some words in English, some words in Indian, just to be a pain in the butt to other people. But my mom of the bitter generation, she would whale me if she caught me. She says, no, you get out there and fit in. Don't let them know you're Mohawk. And it was more punished out of me. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but I just wished I'd have paid more attention and just kept it somehow, and I've lost pretty much all of it.
Well, that was the generation. There was a lot of people that happened to.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to make excuses for myself, which it sounds like that, but it just, we had to do it in secret. Brother and sister, we had to secretly say words, and then I've lost that too. Once I moved away from New York State, left when I was about 14, and didn't come back till I was 35. Just traveled all over the country and all over this hemisphere. I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. So you got to hit me with something, whack me or something. Anyway, to get me to shut up. So when I came back and got to tell stories to the children in my own reservation, I'm never so tickled.
Yeah, so we're just still working at it.
It's the same school year that they would have normally, or do you, and testing, do you have to meet certain criteria?
We don't have to follow New York State. We don't follow New York State at all. We have, we're like a private school, right? So there's, so that we can have low numbers. We don't, I think 62 is a lot, but it's not so each class is maybe like 10 kids. Mm-hmm. So they learn more. They need more attention though. If it's immersion, they need more. You have to repeat. You have to teach them. You have to repeat everything all the time. So to have like 20 kids and you're trying to keep up with every conversation is ridiculous. So we have smaller groups. No, we don't have to do testing or New York State anything. We have our own curriculum that we follow. And
you don't have to answer this question, but are you helped with funding now? Rather than teachers being paid $25 for 10 years of service?
We've evolved, and we found other ways of getting funding, and through grants and foundations and different things. And because we've become established as the AKWESASNE Freedom School is like well known all over the world for immersion programs and what this school and what's been accomplished here. A lot of schools come here, a lot of other people come here all the time to visit and see how did we do it, how did we start it, what did we do, how do we sustain it, how do we pay people, so it's like a world renowned school.
It is. There's
I went to Standing Rock in November, and we did a fundraiser and we raised money for Standing Rock. Was really believed in what they were doing out there. And when I got there, they had a school that was started there at the camp, and I went there and went and met this woman who runs a school. And I said, I'm from AKWESASNE. I said, I'm one of the parents from AKWESASNE Freedom School. And she was like, oh my God, you guys came here. And she was like, knew all about the school and how it had started and was real excited to meet us. And I was like, well, we did a fundraiser and we wanted to give you money to help with your school because this is how our school was started, out of a conflict, right? Yeah. I mean, not the same, but similar, right? And she goes, yeah, I heard that. And she was so happy that we would drive all the way out there to go there.
Now, for the rest of the world, you're going to tell them where Standing Rock is located from here.
In North Dakota.
Right. But we're way up by New York State, Quebec.
So that was a good 30-something hour drive. That's a good journey. Me and one other parent, another parent, just me and her drove, and it was an adventure. 9 states we went through.
Yeah, and the seat of your pants will never forget.
Took
30-some hours one way.
Took a picture at every state line. I don't know. I was probably that's the furthest I've ever driven. So that's pretty wild.
Okay, I'm going to hold off right here for a sec.